This episode is essential if you want a clear plan for your lead generation as a commercial photographer. We're building a simple marketing funnel right here to show you how to convert cold contacts into paying leads.
Welcome to Commercial Photographer, your guide to marketing, creativity, and growth. This is a podcast that helps commercial, brand, and headshot photographers navigate the competitive world of commercial photography with actionable strategies to grow your business.
Hey, how you doing, Sam?
Very good, Marcus. How about you?
Yeah, I'm terrific, thank you. Yeah, and so you're in charge for today's show, and you're going to be talking on the marketing side on, is it funnels? Is that right?
That's it. We've all heard of the marketing funnel, but how do we actually build a structured sales funnel for photographers? Today, we're building a full 3-stage system right here, specifically for branding shoots. You'll crucially learn the difference between a successful LinkedIn connection request and a wasted one, and how to attract your target niche into the top of your funnel. Second, we'll reveal the clever low-cost conversion strategy that filters out low-quality leads and identifies the clients who are really ready to pay for your main service. And finally, you'll hear why consistency in your follow-up is the non-negotiable bedrock of the entire system, ensuring you secure high-value sales in the long run. The marketing funnel. We've all heard of marketing funnels, and lots of us go, what the hell is this about? And so I'm not going to go through and go, oh, right, in theory, this is what it is. What I thought is we'd build one together. So nice and simple. So the idea of a marketing funnel is simply getting people from your marketing and getting them to buy something, and the processes you go through on the way. Okay, so it's just like a route from one place to another, and people draw pretty pictures of funnels and like to make it complicated and la-di-da, but it's just a way of us getting people from not being customers to kind of engaging with us and doing more with us and eventually being customers. Okay, so I thought, right, there we go. So I thought, right, how are we going to do this? Instead of me talking about it in theory, let's together invent a marketing funnel for a brand shoot. So let's say what you want to do at the end of the day is sell brand shoots. Okay, so What are we going to do to get people to the brand shoot? So we're going to start right at the top where we don't know people. How do we attract them in? What do we say to them? Who do we attract? And then kind of work our way down to the sale. And that is the marketing funnel. Effectively, we kind of help them on the way down to the
Brilliant.
purchase.
This is going to be good. This is going to be very good.
Okay. So the first thing is then, how are we going to attract the, what are we going to offer first, and how are we going to attract people? We usually have phases in the funnel. So the first thing is getting people into your funnel. Okay. So if we're thinking about the brand shoot, let's think that we're targeting a particular group of people. So let's say our target market is solicitors. So it's good to think, who am I targeting? Otherwise it's a bit hard. So let's just go everybody is hard. So I want to talk to solicitors. I want to sell them a brand shoot. Okay, so how am I going to get them in? There's a few different places, but if we're talking solicitors, my go-to place would be LinkedIn. All solicitors are going to be on LinkedIn. You're going to be able to search and find them without having LinkedIn Premium. You might need, they don't let you connect that many people, but you pretty much, without paying for LinkedIn, you should be able to do this. Okay, so that's my first thing, is probably think about connecting with solicitors on LinkedIn, and that's a start to getting them on your funnel, because then you're connected with them and then you can start to have a conversation. Okay, but we want to know what the next step is in the funnel, because we want to think about what are we going to say to them. So my thought is have an event, have a free event, so you could fix a date, a free webinar type of thing. Again, all you need is Zoom or something. Something like how to make the most of your personal brand online. And you could be able to talk about that, about using the photos, about using them in social media, about getting the photos. And of course, you can be subtly during this telling people, that brand photos and professional photos are a kind of essential part of this process. But you've got a free event that is going to hopefully be interesting to these solicitors. So first thing is, let's connect to a load of solicitors.
Just on that, funny enough, I do have personal experience of working with solicitors, and I get their work through a marketing company that is particularly geared towards working with solicitors, and I do photos for them, and they pass me the clients. So, that's
excellent.
another way. Obviously, it's not is looking people specialise in marketing to all of these kind of people.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. But yeah, this is just an example. There's loads of ways. This is by no means the right way. I'm just building a funnel. There's all sorts of different ones just as an example. Okay. So let's say we can do a search in LinkedIn for solicitors. I'd probably even start with get it in a particular geographical area. Let's do solicitors in Manchester, for example. You'll find there's loads. Okay. You then need to connect to them, and I would recommend connecting with a message. Okay. Not just connecting, although LinkedIn are really limiting that if you don't pay for premium. And then what does your message want to say? And to be honest, it wants to be clear, it wants to be simple, but it also wants to make it clear why you're connecting. Don't just go, I am expanding my network. Whoopie-doo, lucky you, who cares? Your LinkedIn connection request could be something like, hi Dave, I'm hoping the solicitor's called Dave at this point. Hi Dave, I see you're a solicitor in Manchester. I'm running an event for solicitors in Manchester that I thought you might be interested in. Something really simple while you're explaining why you're connecting, so they're just not going, oh, another person, just like going blur. You're saying it's a free event. I can't remember if I said free event. Hopefully I did. They see it's a free event, so you're not flogging them anything, just something they might be interested in. Yeah? And you should get a reasonable connection rate off that. Yes, probably maybe 40% or something. Around that should then connect with you.
Well, I just looked up on LinkedIn, solicitors in the Manchester area. Oh, that can't be right. I've got 400,000 people come up. That can't be right.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's quite right. But there's certainly a good few.
Forget that. I was going to do some on the site research there, but that's not working at all. Okay, forget that.
Okay, so there's a good few. So then, they're already, those people who've connected with you are what we call in the top of your funnel. They've made it into the funnel. You are now connected with them. Okay? Now, some of those people will reply to that connection message you've got, and that's great. You can then start a conversation with them where you introduce the event and say, would you like to go, and give them a booking link. And for those that don't, you can start the conversation with them. Lots of people connect with you and don't actually notice the connection message. So you then just go something, I sometimes go something really simple like, did you spot my connection message? Would you like to let me tell you something more about the event? Yeah? And then have a short conversation with them. Keep it short and keep the questions open. So don't ask them, would you like to find out about the event? Because they can just say no. Yeah. And just try and ask, what would you find useful in the event? Open questions that they, it's not just a no and then you've lost them. And basically guiding them to, would you like to book on? It's free. Here's the link. Okay. And so you kind of, what we call moving them down the funnel. So you're getting them to take the next step and book onto this free event. And obviously not all of them will. The whole point of this funnel is as you go down, there's less and less people, but you're more and more kind of connected with them. So if they book on the event, a couple of things happens. One, they kind of move down a level in your funnel, okay? And two, you've then got them, as part of that booking, you need to make sure they end up in your mailing list as well. You've then got them in your mailing list, so even if they do nothing else later, they will be getting your regular newsletter and stuff like that, because you're all sending those out, if not sort it out. Anyway, back to funnels. So they're on your newsletter list, they're booked for the event. So you should hopefully be maybe sending them a couple of emails before the event, reminding them what it's about, reminding them what they can get out of the event, okay? Warming them up a little bit, ready for the event. And then obviously you've got the event itself. We all know, Zoom meeting, whatever it is, a few people there. You're telling them you've pre-planned, you've got an idea how this works. You're explaining to them how they can use great photos on LinkedIn, on Facebook, whatever it is, to kind of improve their brand presence. And you're giving them lots of ideas, maybe about using your photos in Canva and doing some designs, whatever it is. You've given that some thought and you've got it planned. And obviously the great thing is once you've planned it once, you can just, do that webinar again and again and again for different people.
I think it's just worth just delving into this idea of abundance a little bit deeper, Sam, because it is quite recent, isn't it? In the olden days, you would, got to keep everything to myself, and mustn't tell and give it out any information, otherwise people won't want me. Whereas these days, it's completely the opposite, isn't it? The idea of giving lots of stuff away for free to get business, and I did this very thing that you're talking about. I did a branding event in London for solicitors, and it was a day teaching them how to take branding photographs of on their phones. And you think, well, surely you're teaching them something I could not get work out, but it was the opposite. They were so enamoured by what the results they got, they booked me for doing their own shoots.
Exactly. Yeah, you can tell people lots and lots of stuff, but eventually they want the professional to do it. So yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Obviously, the bit you don't give away is the going and doing the photo shoot. That's the key.
No.
That's the bit that's paid for. So you've got people at your event. They come. The key is then the last bit of the event. We all know this from webinars. There's a little bit of a sales pitch for the next thing, isn't there? So you've got to have planned what's the next stage in my funnel. Okay, so you've already connected with them on LinkedIn. You've maybe chatted a bit on LinkedIn. They've got a few emails from you. They're at the event. There's going to be a few follow-up emails after the event. So what are you going to sell next? So I think the best thing to sell next would be maybe a slot at a headshot day. So something where they're paying, but it's not expensive. So maybe you've got, say, I'm going to be, that's why I said maybe Manchester. So I'm going to be at this place in Manchester on this date, and headshots are 50 quid a slot. Something, you're not losing money, but you're not making a great deal. It's kind of you're kind of filtering, using almost to filter out those people to see who's willing to pay a little bit of money. And then because they will be the ones who are most likely also to pay more money. So that could be the next sale. You could do one other thing free, maybe, another one more free event, but I think, one's probably enough, but you could do two. But then, something I think next, not a big buy, but a little buy. So a slot at a headshot day, if you're then leading to a brand shoot, is perfect in some ways,
Perfect.
And you can have the day in a place, whoever turns up, 50 quid a headshot, whatever you want it to be, an amount of money that means they have to think about it, but it's not, it's a pretty good buy as well. So that's what you sell at the end of that. You got, right, you need to be doing all of this personal branding. Have you got any good photos? No. Oh, well, next Saturday, I'm in Manchester. I'm going to be here all day. Pop along, get a headshot, 20 quid, 50 quid a pop, whatever it is. Probably get them to pay in advance and then they'll turn up rather than just say I'm going to be there, because you want them to kind of commit. Yeah. And then that's great. So then they've moved to the next level and they've become a customer at that stage, but not really of what you wanted, just a tempter. And they've moved next down the funnel again. They're still on your mailing list. So you should be, after the webinar, be following them up with emails. If they've booked the photo shoot, you should be following up with emails relevant to the photo shoot, reminding them that it's there, reminding them what they might want to bring with them, remind them to comb the hair, whatever it is. So then you've got the photo shoot day, and on the photo shoot day, they'll turn up, they'll have a 15-minute slot, whatever it is, quite quick. You get the shoots. And then it's at that point, or when you deliver the headshots, the in goes, you've got these, and they go, what, did you like them? And they'll go, oh yeah, they're lovely. And then probably, I suspect that's probably a good point to do it. I suspect you do the headshot, you have a nice chat, they meet you, and then you however long later, email them the photos, and then I'd probably at that point give them a call and go, what do you think of the photos? How are you going to use them? How useful would it be actually? You got 3 headshots, great. You could really do with a big bank, couldn't you, of photos, really, for your social media. What about the brand shoot? And it's bang, that's when the sale comes in. And so the whole point of the foil is you're leading down to that sale, you're filtering out people along the way. But although you're filtering out, there's still lots of them at the top. So, people who didn't book into the webinar are still connected with you on LinkedIn. People who went to the webinar but didn't decide to book the headshot thing are on your email list. So we'll keep getting your email. So people don't tend to, some people will then unsubscribe, but most people will tend to stay in the funnel, even if they don't drop down to the next level. And then they kind of any stage move down.
And sometimes you're not going to get immediate results in this, but just by having them in this system means, they might be coming to you again in a year's time or 2 years or whatever.
Exactly.
So it's certainly something that I've done and would definitely recommend.
I mean, yeah. So that basically that's an example of a funnel. So a funnel is a way you're thinking about. You really think carefully. You think, where are people coming from? Where do I want to get them to? What are the steps I'm going to get them through on the end? And you can see there's an awful lot of emails in there that it's definitely worth planning and getting in there. If you're going to do an event, remind people about the event. Get the emails in before. If you did an event, talk about it afterwards. Chat to them on LinkedIn, send them emails. Those stuff in between is important. Don't just ignore them and go, oh, I'll just do the events. That chat in between and that connection is really important. And then if you've got them on the mailing list, then make sure you're using your mailing list. If you put all this effort, you've put lots of people on the mailing list and you go, oh, I was a bit busy this month, I couldn't be bothered with my newsletter. Well, what was the point of putting all the bloody effort in to start with? Lots of people do this. They kind of do some of it and then they go, oh, it's a bit busy. you have to. We've got a whole show on consistency, don't we, Marcus?
Yeah,
you
that
have
we
to
do.
be consistent, consistently get the newsletter out, consistently be putting LinkedIn posts out, whatever it is.
And also, Sam, I'm just taking it right back to the beginning as well. Yet another good reason why it's good to niche down and focus on a specific market.
Yes and no. So yeah, it is. I mean, you could also, this funnel could be a niche funnel, but you have other niche funnels. So you could do this, and it for solicitors, and it could work and go, right, actually, let's take this niche funnel, and I'm going to now do something similar, but for accountants or for, so you don't have to just keep that one funnel. So people will often have quite a few different funnels in their business. But yes, within that funnel, certainly having a niche is good, but also if you're known as a photographer for solicitors, then yes, that helps you sell within that niche.
It does, and I still look at so many websites where people aren't niching down. Oh, it's just really it's quite odd in some ways. It seems to be. I
it's
get
a
it.
scary thing to do, Marcus.
It's
Yes,
what-
lots
so
of
some
shows.
peop-
It's a scary thing to do because you always think
Yeah,
you'll lose
yeah.
business. But yeah, there's a whole show
okay,
on niching, so go and have a listen to that. We'll put a link in
Yeah.
the show notes. Link on the one in consistency as well. But the key is this: yes, think about a funnel. It is not complicated. It is not hard. You just need to think: where do I get the people from? Where am I going to take them next? Where am I going to take them next? And if you're trying to get customers, which you all are, it's really important to think about this. What steps are you taking? It's great you've got them onto your newsletter list. Have you got a plan for how you get them to the next step? And if you've not, then they will just stay on your newsletter list.
Great, love it. Very straightforward, really. It's just a matter of, as you say,
it's not
getting
rocket
out
science.
there and doing it.
That was a brilliant breakdown, Sam. It proves that a sales system doesn't have to be complicated. So, just to recap, here are the 3 non-negotiable stages of a successful sales funnel for photographers. First, we saw the power of the specific connection message, understanding that a value-driven approach is key to attracting your ideal client in the marketing funnel for photographers. Secondly, we learned about the commitment filter, using a small, paid step to ensure your time is only spent nurturing high potential leads. And finally, we highlighted the necessity of consistent engagement. The final sale depends on your committing to the follow-up leads, ensuring maximum commercial photography lead generation.
And don't forget that you can get for free the Commercial Photographer Guide to Creativity and Marketing. After all, that's what this show is all about. To get your free download, all you need to do is go to our website at commercial-photographer-podcast.com/creativity. Let me do that one again. commercial-photographer-podcast.com/creativity. And from there, you can get your free guide from us to marketing and creativity. That's right.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Sam. That was very informative. And luckily, I can actually say it's something that I actually have done and do as well. So I'm going to give myself a little tick here. A little tick by
There
my
we
name.
go.
Marcus.
Excellent.
Tick.
Well done, Marcus. Marcus, done marketing today. Very good.
Okay, nice one, Sam. But that is a very interesting show. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. If you want to make sure you never miss a show, head to the website commercial-photographer-podcast.com and sign up to the newsletter. We'll be back next week with more practical advice to help you grow your business. See you next time.